My sister suddenly shoved my 15-year-old daughter out of her wheelchair. There was no warning, no argument, just a sudden, violent push. My daughter flew forward and hit the floor hard, right there in front of dozens of wedding guests. For a split second, my brain couldn't even process what I was seeing. Then my wife and I rushed forward, panic exploding in our chests as we tried to help her. We hadn't even figured out what the hell had just happened when my sister screamed at the top of her lungs, her voice sharp and furious. "Stop pretending to get attention. This is my wedding." In that moment, my heart completely stopped. I stared at my sister, frozen, unable to believe what I had just heard. My mind went blank, except for one question pounding over and over. How could she say that? How could she be so cruel, so heartless to treat my daughter that way? Especially knowing everything she'd been. What happened next changed the way I saw my family forever. Let's follow this story together. It's a story that proves the saying, jealousy creates crazy actions. Before we get into the details, thank you for choosing this story today. I hope you're having a peaceful day. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric. I'm 45 years old, and I work as a software engineer in Chicago. On the surface, my life is pretty calm now. After long, stressful hours at work, what I look forward to most is coming home, eating the delicious meals my wife cooks, and sitting down to talk with my daughter about her day. Those quiet moments mean everything to me. My wife's name is Shirley. She works as an accountant at a financial consulting firm. Shirley is calm by nature. She rarely raises her voice, rarely loses her temper, and always seems to know how to handle situations with a level head. But don't confuse her calmness with weakness. When it comes to protecting our family, especially our daughter, Shirley will do whatever it takes, no matter the cost. Our daughter's name is Kathy. She's in high school now. Kathy is the greatest gift life has ever given me. Every single day when I see her smile, I feel like the luckiest man in the world. She's bright, lively, and kind in a way that feels rare these days. Kathy's smile is pure sunshine. After exhausting workdays, that smile alone is enough to wipe away all my fatigue. But what most people don't know is that 2 years ago, my daughter went through a life-changing incident. An incident that involved people who were supposed to love her. Even now, I still blame myself for not protecting her better, for allowing my toxic family to hurt her the way they did. This story happened on a weekend in October 2023. It was the day of my sister Marie's second wedding. Marie had been married once before, back in 2015. That marriage lasted only 3 years. It ended badly, with constant arguments and resentment that neither side could fix. After the divorce, Marie was bitter for a long time. Then in 2021, she met a new man. After 2 years of dating, she decided to marry him. She called it a fresh start, a second chance at happiness. 2 months before the wedding, our lives were turned upside down. Kathy was on her way home from school when a truck made a careless turn and hit her. Both of her legs were broken. I still remember standing in the hospital room that night, staring at my daughter lying motionless in the bed, her face pale and exhausted. It felt like someone was squeezing my heart until I could barely breathe. The doctor told us she would need at least 6 months to recover fully. That meant that when we went to Marie's wedding, Kathy would need to be in a wheelchair. I honestly considered not bringing her. I worried about the crowd, about accessibility, about her feeling uncomfortable or being stared at. When I brought it up, Kathy grabbed my hand immediately. Her eyes were wide, her voice full of hope. "Dad, I want to go," she said softly. "I've been stuck at home for 2 months. I'm so bored. I miss everyone." Shirley agreed with her. She believed getting out of the house would help Kathy's spirit. After listening to our daughter, Shirley turned to me and said gently, "Honey, she needs to feel normal again. We can't keep her locked inside forever." So we decided to go together as a family. When we arrived at the wedding venue, the place was packed. Relatives had come from everywhere. The hall was decorated lavishly, fresh flowers everywhere, crystal chandeliers reflecting warm light across the room. Almost immediately, people noticed Kathy. Relatives came over one after another to greet her. One of my aunts gasped and said, "Oh my God, Kathy's grown up so fast. She's beautiful, like an angel." Another uncle nodded and added, "That's right. That girl could be a model. That golden hair, those blue eyes, so rare." I stood behind Kathy's wheelchair, pride swelling in my chest. She really had inherited the best of both sides of the family. Her golden hair shimmered under the lights, soft and smooth. Her blue eyes were clear and bright, like an autumn lake. Her skin was fair and flawless. A year earlier, a film company had even contacted us, asking if Kathy would audition for a teen movie. They said she had the perfect look for a lead role. I declined. I just wanted her to have a normal childhood. As I watched relatives gather around her that day, smiling and complimenting her, I felt happy. I had no idea that the very thing I was so proud of would trigger something ugly. About 15 minutes after we arrived, Marie came over with the groom and my parents. I smiled and prepared to congratulate her. But the second she saw the crowd around Kathy, her expression changed. Her eyes flicked down to the wheelchair, irritation flashing across her face. She stopped in front of me and asked coldly, "Why didn't you leave Kathy at home?" I froze. For a second, I genuinely thought I had misheard her. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice tight. Marie shrugged, trying to sound innocent. "I just think it's hard for her to move around. Weddings are crowded, wheelchairs are bulky, it's inconvenient." Before I could respond, my mom jumped in. "That's right, Marie just means well. You should understand your sister." Anger burned in my chest. Shirley noticed immediately. She squeezed my hand tightly, a silent warning. She leaned close and whispered, "Calm down. Maybe she's just concerned. Don't make a big deal out of it." I swallowed everything I wanted to say. As they turned to leave, my mom paused, looked straight at me, and said quietly, "Today is Marie's special day. Don't let Kathy take all the attention." That sentence hit me like a punch. I wanted to ask what she meant. I wanted to defend my daughter. But Shirley gently pulled my hand and shook her head. Her eyes begged me to let it go. So I did. We moved to a corner near a pillar, trying to stay out of sight. I positioned Kathy's wheelchair carefully, hoping no one would notice us anymore. But it didn't matter. Kathy didn't have to do anything to draw attention. People kept coming over, smiling, praising her, and every compliment made Marie angrier. While Shirley and I stepped a few feet away to speak with relatives, Marie appeared behind Kathy. Without a single word, she shoved her. Kathy hit the floor hard. Her scream echoed through the hall. That sound ripped my heart apart. Shirley and I rushed to her. Kathy lay on the floor, crying, her face twisted in pain. Her healing legs had taken the full impact of the fall. I looked up at my sister, my head spinning, disbelief crashing over me. It felt like the world stopped. I screamed, "Are you crazy? My daughter is injured." Marie didn't look sorry, not even for a second. "She's pretending to get attention," she said coldly. "I won't let her ruin my wedding." Then my parents arrived, and instead of worrying about their granddaughter lying on the floor, my mom looked at me and said, "I told you not to let Kathy take all the attention. Now look what you've done." In that moment, something inside me completely broke. I stared at my mother, my mind struggling to understand how those words could come out of her mouth while my daughter was crying on the floor. Kathy was still lying there, clutching at her legs, her face pale and wet with tears. Shirley was kneeling beside her, trying to comfort her while checking her legs with trembling hands. I felt dizzy. My ears were ringing. It was like the entire wedding hall had faded away, leaving only my daughter's sobs and my own pounding heart. "What do you mean? What I've done?" I shouted, my voice shaking with rage. "She pushed my child. She pushed an injured child out of her wheelchair." My mom frowned deeply, as if I were the problem. "Lower your voice," she said sharply. "You're causing a scene." That sentence flipped a switch inside me. I took a step forward, pointing at Marie. "She caused the scene. She assaulted my daughter." Marie crossed her arms, her lips pressed into a thin line. "You're exaggerating," she snapped. "She fell because she's dramatic. Ever since she came in here, everyone's been staring at her instead of me." Couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked around at the guests who had gone silent. Some stared in shock. Others avoided eye contact, pretending not to notice. No one stepped in. No one defended Kathy. Shirley slowly stood up, her face calm but deadly serious. I knew that look. It was the same look she had when she protected Kathy at school meetings or doctor appointments. Her voice was low, controlled, and terrifyingly steady. "Enough," she said. "We're leaving." Marie scoffed. "You're really going to ruin my wedding over this?" Shirley turned to her, eyes cold. "You ruined your own wedding the moment you laid hands on my child." Without another word, Shirley helped Kathy back into her wheelchair. Kathy was shaking, her lips trembling as she tried not to cry louder. I knelt in front of her, holding her hands. "I'm so sorry," I whispered, my throat tight. I should have protected you better. Kathy shook her head slightly. It's not your fault, Dad, she whispered back, though her eyes were full of hurt. Those words crushed me. As we moved toward the exit, my dad finally spoke up. Eric, don't be dramatic. Sit down. We'll talk about this later. I stopped and turned around. No, I said firmly. There is no later. If you think humiliating and hurting my daughter is acceptable, then you don't get to be part of our life. The room was dead silent. We walked out of the wedding hall, leaving everything behind. The music, the decorations, the celebration. Outside, the night air felt cold and heavy. I loaded Kathy into the car as carefully as I could, my hands shaking with guilt and anger. At the hospital, doctors confirmed that Kathy hadn't broken her legs again, but the fall had delayed her healing. Hearing that felt like another knife to the chest. I sat in the hallway while Shirley stayed with Kathy, my head buried in my hands. That night, I made a decision. I cut contact with my sister completely. I stopped answering my parents' calls. When they texted, trying to justify what happened, I blocked them. For the first time in my life, I chose my wife and daughter without hesitation. Months later, Kathy is healing again, slowly but steadily. She smiles less than she used to, but when she does, I treasure it even more. Shirley and I make sure she knows every single day how loved she is. As for my family, I don't regret walking away, because any family that sees jealousy as more important than a child's pain isn't family at all. What hurt the most in this story wasn't just the physical act of pushing a child out of a wheelchair. It was the betrayal that followed, the silence of the room, the excuses, the way adults chose pride and jealousy over basic human decency. Sometimes the most painful lesson isn't learning who hates you, but realizing who won't protect you when it matters most. Choosing peace over toxic family isn't easy, but protecting your child is never the wrong decision. Audience question 1. If you were in Eric's position, would you have cut contact with your family after this incident, or tried to reconcile later? 2. Do you think jealousy can really make people lose all sense of right and wrong, even toward children? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.